Hey everyone, this is Amy Scott from Nomadtopia, and I just wanted to share with you a success story of one of my clients who's been having an amazing journey over the last year since she first contacted me. So, hi Jessica, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, Amy. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Broome. I am a location independent research consultant. I do surveys, interviews, and focus groups for all kinds of companies and organizations to help them make better informed decisions.
So, when did you start working for yourself?
I've been working for myself for about 6 years, 6.5 years. The first couple of years, I did some like location independent experiments where I would go and try to work in Costa Rica for a couple weeks. I was living in Michigan and I would go back to New York for a couple weeks and try to work from there. Some more successful than others.
Got it. What kind of had hit, that critical point when you found me and decided to reach out and get some support?
Yeah, I was in the Dominican Republic and I went down there for about 2 months to try to work. And it was kind of a disaster, like a daily struggle to get work done and do calls with clients. And I sort of was Googling around like what to do when there's an internet outage or something, what to do when you have terrible Wi-Fi and have to make a Skype call. And that's how I found your site. And then I reached out to you. I was like, people do this. There are people who do this. There must be a way. There must be like some secret that I'm missing. That's when I reached out to you and was like, what help? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, I have this idea that I can be location independent and my business is set up in a way that I can, but I'm encountering all of these like logistical challenges.
Right, exactly. You reached out to me in January, and we actually started doing coaching calls like March of 2014, and we're together kind of sporadically, right? So it wasn't like a year of weekly calls or anything like that. You've definitely been off doing things on your own and experimenting a bit as well.
Yeah, I feel like that was doing those experiments has been sort of one of the most helpful things. Challenge of 1 week of going to Mexico and having to set things up and get a local SIM card and then being able to come home and sort of regroup and be like, okay, what do I need? What materials or what goods am I lacking? What knowledge am I lacking? Um, and sort of ease into like a more full-on location independent existence.
Right. So tell us a little bit, like, what are things like now and what's changed since the time we started working together until today?
So I'm not like changed my inbox all the time. If I know one important thing from a client is coming, I can, I know that that's there, but I'm out gallivanting around and having fun and not being chained to my computer all the time. I think I manage my time a lot better. I don't have to spend 10 hours a day in front of the computer because I have other resources. And I've sort of changed the expectations that my clients have. Like a lot of them know that unless it's super urgent, I'm not going to respond in 5 minutes. Like they might have to wait an hour or
Yeah.
2 hours, not, they never have to wait for days. Like, and they know
Right.
that. So I think it works out.
Yeah, and I remember it seemed like at the time, like when we first started talking about some of this stuff, it seemed like that couldn't be changed. Like the clients were like this, the work was like this, and that's just the way things are. And have you found that it's actually not quite as fixed as you thought it was, and you have been able to make some of those adjustments?
That's a really good observation. Yeah, it was. And sometimes I'm like, well, a lot of my clients are like high-powered agency people in New York, and they're used to getting an immediate response. And if they don't get it, they're going to find someone else to work with.
Right.
But I've sort of started to realize, like, it's not usually like that. I mean, my work is not saving babies. It's rare that there's a really serious emergency. And I think I've gotten to the point, and my clients have gotten to the point of realizing that, like, it's worth it for them to work with me, even if sometimes they have to wait for an hour or overnight to get a response.
Perfect. Yeah.
I've also taken on different kinds of work that are just much more much easier to do from anywhere. Or it's not on as much of a set schedule as some of the work I was doing before. So that's been a good shift too.
Yeah, awesome. And so you had just come back from the DR, and we're kind of looking at like, you know, how you wanted to fit travel into your life, where you were going to have a home base, if you were going to have a home base, how long you would go for, where you would go. Now you're in Buenos Aires and you keep changing your flight because you want to stay longer. So obviously things have shifted a bit, right?
Yeah, things have shifted a lot. I had originally I still have my home base in New Orleans. And originally on this trip, I thought, oh, I'll go for 3 weeks. If it's not working out with work and I can't work, I can't get things done, I'll be home in time for Mardi Gras. But Mardi Gras was the day before yesterday, and I'm still here. So it's just, I did work it out. It was easy to work. And some of that is Buenos Aires compared to the DR. Like, I've been going to awesome co-working spaces here and going to like nomad meetups and meeting other people. It's very rare that there's any problem with the Wi-Fi. I've just gotten used to like a pretty cushy life here.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, my next plan is to go back to the States and spend some time cleaning out my apartment in New Orleans and giving it up. I feel like I'm finally ready to be like home baseless for a little while. I have a house sitting gig for the summer, and then I'm planning to hit the road with not really many possessions for like 10 months and see where that takes me.
Awesome. That's so huge. And
Yeah,
also, yeah, it is. And I also was very aware, I guess a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, we were in touch, and I know that the power went out, and you were like on Twitter and on email, like chatting away, totally not phased at all. And I was like, this is very impressive, because I think before that would have been something you'd be like, oh my God, what do I do?
Yeah, no, it's happened to me twice here, and it's been pretty manageable, because now I have figured out the secret of the unlocked cell phone and using my iPhone as a personal hotspot. Now that I realize how much data that uses, I probably wouldn't just like hang out on a Twitter chat for hours like I did that day. But now at least I know, if I have to, I can stay in touch and get stuff done even when the power's out. These things are out there. Like, oh, I can do this, and like nothing terrible is going to happen.
Right. When you were at that point of like, this isn't working, but I know people do this, I can't figure this out, why did you decide that you needed help, that you just weren't able to do this on your own?
I guess I felt like people do this. There are resources out there available to help you do this. I just didn't know what resources there were and what I needed. And I felt like my business was going great, and I wanted to spend time working on my business. I didn't want to spend time like Googling stupid questions about like, how do I find a place to store my stuff? Or how do I do this? How do I do that? I wanted to have somebody I was like, how do I do this? And they would give me like 3 suggestions, and I could like go with that. It was going from a place of being like completely overwhelmed to feeling like this is manageable. I can do this. And it's not going to take me, it's not going to take all my time looking around for stuff. I was just going around in circles like, well, I could give up the place in New Orleans, but then there's so much to do, and I'd have to quit the gym and have my mail forwarded and cancel my phone, and I'm going to sell stuff, and if it doesn't work out, I'm going to come back and not even have a bed to sleep in. And I was just like talking myself into a frenzy, and you were just very mellow, and you were like, but everything is reversible. And I was like, oh, you're right, it is. Like when I got to Buenos Aires and I loved it so much, and I was like, oh, I need to change my ticket. What do I do? Oh my God, how do I do that? And I just sort of heard your little voice being like, everything is reversible. And I called the airline, and I was like, how much will it cost to change it? And they were like, $300. And I was like, oh, I mean, it's not like I want to drop $300 on an airline flight every day of my life, but like, that's pretty reasonable. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And then I did it again.
Right.
Like, everything really is reversible. I also think the whole like printing and scanning, it's such a stupid logistical thing, but you're right that you always seem to have to do it. Like I have like plan A, plan B, plan C. Like I have my electronic signature and I have my virtual assistant back in the States doing stuff. But there was one day I was like, I really have to do it. And I was like, didn't Amy tell me about like I can just get a scanner app on my phone? So all I really have to find is a printer, which just made it a lot more reasonable. So I went to the little copy store. I was like, you print this? And then I signed it and I took a picture with my phone and I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. It's okay. So even just stuff like that of just ways to make my life a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, when we started working together, I didn't have the Create Your Nomadtopia program available. But it is available now, and it includes a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. There's tons of the logistical stuff about working from anywhere. You know, what you were talking about like, what do I do with my stuff, and do I keep my place, and all of these logistical things that it's so easy to get bogged down in. And also, like you were saying, to have that outside perspective to kind of talk you off the ledge when it's feeling really overwhelming and you're getting all caught up in the how and the where and the what. And
totally. I mean, I love the idea that people are going to have support in the group of not just you, but each other. I think it would be so great to, I would have loved at that point when I was just sort of at the jumping off point to have people be like, you can do it, or like, this is how I'm dealing with the same situation. Just have people to bounce ideas off of, I think is so helpful.
yeah.
That's not like my mom who's secretly like, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other piece of it, is that when you don't have people in your life who get it or who actively trying to dissuade you, then you can't even talk to them about what you're dealing with.
Exactly. And you're like just talking yourself in circles about stuff. So yeah, I think it's definitely, it's super helpful to have that kind of community.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think one thing that's been helpful for me that you talked about sort of the idea of setting up routines wherever you are. And now like part of my routine is working out for even like half hour, 45 minutes every day. And that's something that before I sort of thought like, oh, what do I do? I mean, this terrible hotel room in the Dominican Republic, and how am I going to work out? And I'm going crazy, and I can't even work. But the idea of like, okay, you have a routine for work, you can have a routine for work. Like you can feel like yourself, even when no matter where you are, you can be yourself. Do the things that make you happy and make you stable.
Yeah.
So that was a great realization.
Yeah, I remember when you were talking about some of that stuff and recognizing that you'd kind of lost your routine when you were traveling, and how could you get that back? And
like it does take like personal discipline. Like of course it's easy to be like, oh, I'm traveling, I'm just gonna drink 9 beers and eat chocolate for breakfast. So, and obviously like you can't solve that for me. Like if I want to do that, I'm gonna do it. So it does take some level of personal discipline, but I think having almost like someone to be accountable to, like someone who cares how you're doing it. Are you making this work? You're not just sort of out there on your own.
yeah, definitely. And I think too, it's, having someone who can kind of, witness what you've identified as the things that are really important to you and help you stay true to that, And so
Exactly.
Instead of being like, oh, well, who cares about exercise? But like you said, that was really important to you, So,
right.
Okay, let's find a way to fit that in, make that part of what this lifestyle looks like for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really, it's good to have like the voice on the other shoulder.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me today. And it's been great working with you. And it's been so awesome to see your progress and to meet you in Mexico also. And I'm sure we'll see each other again somewhere in the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you.